maza a karba, mara daɗi maza a karba. Namu mun dogara kan yanayin da muka samu kanmu mun yarda cewa a cikin nama da jini wani abu zai faru. Shi yasa muka samu karfi muka ci gaba da yi abubuwa wanda muke yi tun da domin mu samu ci gaban rayuwa.
She can answer in English. That question. Okay, what she said is that they just have to be courageous daily life and they believe this is real. It has happened, there's nothing they can do about it. So they have to move on with their daily activities and be courageous about it. Mariam, you can answer in English.
Ba mu da wanda zai taimake mu, ba inda za mu sa kanmu. To dole in ba mu sa karfi a cikin noma nan ba abin da za mu iya nema kanmu. Bayan da yaran da suna jeje su ma ba sa nan, mun da muna gida ba abin da za mu iya mu. Sai dai noma nan ne shi ne muka dore zuciya muka ce bari mu ci gaba da noma nan, Allah ya taimake mu kasa kanmu a hannun Allah, in ba haka ba wanda muka doka.
So what she said is their girls are gone, no one is there to help them. If they slip and fall, their arms are cool without going to farm, they're not going to get anything because that's their livelihood. So they just have to push themselves, stand up, and continue farming and leave everything to God.
Easy. All right, sir. All right, sir. Yes. Easy. One more, sir. Sorry, ma. Yeah.
Your hand is entering my video, please. Inka, are you good? Yes.
Whatever. Yes.
Okay, I'm going to take this photo of it, but please come here.
Hello people, good evening. Many years down the line, today we are telling the story of the Chibok girls. But most importantly, we are telling it from the point of a mother's POV. And with me here is another mother in the industry, a veteran, an amazing actress, by the way, yes. And she's also a mother. Please welcome Silva the Masters. Hello, how are you doing, ma'am?
I'm very well, thank you for having me.
I'm actually in my feelings. Yes, so the atmosphere tonight is beyond what happened to the children. We are focusing on what happened to the mother, how they dealt with it. Now, from the POV of your mother, how does that make you feel?
That's one of the reasons I'm here. I was heartbroken even when it happened. I was in America when it happened and I started advocating. I was making a lot of videos because my heart broke. I'm a strong believer in put yourself in their shoes. If it had happened to you as a mom, what would you do? I'll probably lose my mind. I mean, these mothers are brave. The way they carried themselves, the way they conducted searches, all they did to try and bring their children back. I don't know if I could have survived it. I'm not sure, but this is me showing support as a mother, as a woman, as a human. You know that it's not an easy thing to even figure.
It's not an easy thing. One thing that stood out for these mothers was, learning to survive, and they started the whole family thing, continued their life. Now, what would you say that taught you about resilience?
Nigerian African women are very resilient women. No matter what situation they find themselves, we're survivors. We find ourselves trying every time to survive whatever challenge, and we face a lot of challenges. But we have been groomed to find a way to survive, to make the best out of every bad situation. The fact that they kept going and they got into farming and they're able to push through and still tell their stories just shows how strong and brave they are. And I think that's what the generation needs to learn from events like this: not to give up, not to break in the face of challenges, but to keep pushing.
Yes. Yes, thank you so much. Finally, this story is being told from the eyesight, from the mind and the framework of Silva, somebody within your space and that understands where this is coming from. Yeah. Now, what is that one message that you hope that this old documentary and this moment push out to the world? You're out of Nigeria when this thing happened, but if you are to relive that, may God forbid, what is that message you hope that this experience tonight push out to the world?
I think that one message that we should take from this is unity, coming together, having one voice, speaking together. That is happening to all of us, not just in the north, not just to a particular community, but to all of us. We come together and find a way out of this, and not ignore the fact that it's still happening till date. It's unity for me.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you so much. It's so nice talking, and thank you for spilling the knowledge and really sharing it from your own angle. It's an honor. Have an amazing evening, man. Thank you. Hi, people. We're still live at the premiere of Mothers of Chibok, a documentary that tells the story from the POV of the mother. And I'm here with one of the people that brought the story to life, that worked on this project with them, right?
I didn't bring the story to life, but I'm here to support the impact project.
Yes. Okay, my bad. But everybody who is a part of it is one of those people that bring the story back to life.
Absolutely.
To tell it in a way that is different.
Absolutely.
So please let's what's your name?
My name is Fifehon Oshikongo.
Okay, thank you very much. How would you say that working on this project, experiencing this woman and telling the story from their eyes, help you to understand the situation better, help you to put yourself in that moment when the whole situation happened?
Okay, so not really put myself in the moment that the situation happened,
Okay.
but what it did is that it helped me to understand that these women are dignified women. These women are not just helpless people, in the village that something happened to, right? They're actually, powerful women that are, really very actually resilient and also very strategic, actually. They know exactly what they're doing. They're like, what Boko Haram said, we cannot educate our children. We cannot leave them there, otherwise they will do something. Well, we will continue to educate our children no matter what. And so they continue to do what they're doing with the farming and ensuring that their kids continue to go to school. And so for me, that just was like, that showed me the ultimate resilience. And guess what? The part that really, 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 really touched me the most is the fact that at the end of all of this, right, because I'm obviously a faith driven person.
Okay.
God was at the center of it all. They didn't, even though all of these, insane things have happened and they're not, you'll see the film. They obviously are not in the most comfortable economic situations. Obviously for them, they're okay with that. But even with all of the daunting things that are happening to them, they were just like still praising God and saying, no matter what, God is,
Keep
God is
believing.
good.
Okay, move it. That's very good. Now, finally, on the point of telling the story, we've heard the story of Boko Haram from a security and political point of view a lot of times. But how does it feel seeing it being told from an humane part of angle?
You have to see the film. It's just so beautiful, and just the fact that we're able to show the women in their, like you said, natural habitats.
Yes.
Living their daily lives, continue to be resilient, continue to stand in their power, and continue, like I said, to educate their children against all odds. I think to me it was just incredibly inspiring.
Okay.
That not only talks about the resilience, the enduring strength, but also the dignity of these women. Now, just to give you a bit of context, tonight marks a historic and joyful milestone. I have to say that I'm really excited to announce that this is the first time a documentary of this kind is receiving a full cinema run. So put your hands together for Mothers of Chibok one more time. Now, what this signals, in fact, is an important shift in how we value and experience non-fiction storytelling. It was barely a year ago when we kind of started having the conversation around what the future of Mothers of Chibok will be, and we are here now. So it's amazing to see. March 1st is tomorrow. Happy New Month, people. Look to a woman beside you and say Happy International Women's Month. You will not hear what this day. We're about to start. So get ready for us. Yes. Please clap for all the women in your lives one more time, people. Woo! Now, we all know that March 1st marks the beginning of International Women's Month, making this evening even more meaningful as we center the voices, the labor, and the leadership of the story of these women who continue to inspire. Now, I know when you throw your minds back to 2014, probably the first time I heard about the town Chibok, what comes to mind is sadness, it wasn't really the best time. But the beauty about this story, the beauty about Mothers of Chibok is that we're not looking at Chibok from that lens anymore. We're looking at strong women who have taken this pain and made it their strength. So please put your hands together again for them. This evening is also a powerful reminder that film and storytelling can be a catalyst, can be a narrative for change, as well as social and economic impact. What we are sharing tonight extends beyond cinema. It speaks to visibility, it speaks to responsibility, and it speaks to action. We are especially honored to have the Mothers of Chibok with us this evening. They are deeply excited to share this moment with you, and we are so grateful for their presence. So please, you already know, put your hands together for them one more time. Thank you so much for being here. Now, before we proceed, this event kicked off around 4:30. I'm sure. How many of you tried the granules outside? Wave your hands. Did you try the food? No? Yes? Did you try it? Let me see your hands now. You ate, you don't want to show us that you. Come on. Okay. In case you didn't know, some of the products that are outside were actually made, specially curated from the granules that was harvested by the mothers of Chibok. So you can see the full circle moment we're having right now. It's amazing. It's amazing to be here. For those who joined us early, you were able to sample those products, and by the end of tonight's screening, you understand why this is truly a full circle moment for the mothers of Chibok. But of course, this evening would not be possible without our sponsors. So please just spare me a minute or two to say thank you to our sponsors and our partners for the support. Your belief in our storytelling, impact-driven cinema, and the long-term change that we're about to make tonight is what keeps us going. So thank you to JB Multimedia Studios, thank you to Halting Lane, thank you to Impact Partners, to Shark Island Productions, the Forum of Women in Film and TV, the Waosi Rhoda Foundation, our Temis rounding for them. Please clap for them. Without them, we will not be here tonight. The Acts of Mercy Foundation, we have the Eden Venture Group, MBO Capital, Vlisco, Light Design Studio, Okayode and Co, Bella Ninja, Zenfix, Notsi, Media Reach, Trace, Chef Rex, FSDH, Kelechi Amadi Obi, Ekulo Group, Lamy Designs, Zikoko, Moody, and of course, myself. I'm just joking. Thank you so much for being here. Now, without further ado, I'm going to be calling on a very special somebody. Is he here? Fantastic. To officially open tonight's program, it is my pleasure to invite a respected voice in Nigerian storytelling. He's a respected voice when it comes to documentary practice. Please put your hands together for Mr. Femi Odubemi. He will be giving us the opening remarks.
Good evening, everyone. It really is both an honor and a real privilege to give opening remarks here tonight. The premiere of Mothers of Chibok is a historic day. This is not just a film premiere. It really is an historic moment. For more than a decade, the name Chibok has echoed across the world as a headline, a hashtag, a symbol. But what Kachi and his team have done with the film is something far more powerful. He has restored humanity where the world once saw only statistics. He has turned a global news event back into what it has always been, a story of mothers, of families, of faith, of unbreakable endurance. When I first encountered this film, I wrote a review that it was not simply about a tragedy, that it was about memory, about resistance, and about love. It is about women who refused to disappear into silence, women who insisted that the world must not move on, women whose grief became a form of protest and whose hope became an act of defiance. Mothers of Chibok is historic because it reframes the narrative. It does not sensationalize pain, it dignifies it. It does not exploit trauma, it honors it. And in doing so, it reclaims agency for those who have too often been spoken about but not listened to. There is enormous power in this film, the power of proximity, because here today we sit with these very women. The power of testimony, because they speak for themselves. And the power of cinema, because film can hold complexities that the headline cannot. The work reminds us that documentary storytelling at its best is not just about recording reality, it's about shaping collective memory. It's about insisting that injustice is neither normal nor forgettable. Tonight, as we watch, we are not just audiences, we are witnesses. And to witness is to accept responsibility, to carry this story and other stories forward, to refuse indifference and to honor the courage of the mothers whose strength anchors this film. Ajoke Silva, Yinka Oduni, and Kachi Benson have given us a work of art. But more than that, they have given us a mirror to ourselves as a nation. May we have the courage to look into it. Finally, thank you to everyone who has made today happen, all the brands, the distributors, to Joke Silva, Yinka Oduni, and our Emmy Award-winning filmmaker, Kachi Benson, for making such a beautiful film. And finally, thank you to the mothers of Chibok for showing us what courage truly means. Welcome to a historic moment.
Let's use this one.
Okay. So when I told Mateo in 2021 April that I want to go to Chibok and make another film, I don't think we were thinking we're gonna have it hit the cinemas and fill up an IMAX theater. Well, thank you all for coming. I'm grateful and thankful. We think that we know the mothers of Chibok because we read the headlines and we've tracked the pain. But there's more to them than that. And that's what we try to do with this film. The one thing that I said to Mateo was, look, I just want to make a beautiful film because I've spent time with these women and I've seen their strength, I've seen the dignity that they carry themselves with, and there's a side to their lives that we don't often get to see, but I've been fortunate to see it, and I want to share that side of their lives with the world. And so here we are. Thank you, everyone. I can't start to mention names and stuff. I'm going to miss some names and people are going to get angry. So I'll just say thank you to everyone. But there's someone here that I would like to bring up just to say a few words because she made it possible for me to make my first trip to Chibok in 2018 when I made Daughters of Chibok. I was doing some work for her, and I said to her, I want to go to Chibok. And she said, okay, we'll figure out how to make it happen. And she supported that and helped us with all the permissions that we needed. So please, Uncle Femi made a very groundbreaking speech, so I'm not going to try and match him. This will be very chill. But please put your hands together for Dr. Mariam Masha, just to say a few words.
Thank you very much for the kind words. And thank you for having me as a part of this. I don't know what to say, we've been there. So ladies and gentlemen, this is a deeply personal moment for me, because my role in this my involvement, should I say, wasn't just observational. I was in Bono working on ground at the time this film was being made. And as Kachi has said, facilitating access and all of that, but it was more than that. I had the privilege at the time of working with the immediate past president, advising on humanitarian interventions and internally displaced persons. And I had the opportunity of working on projects, leading projects that were instrumental to the interventions, both from a humanitarian response and also long-term stabilization. I had the opportunity of working on a project with Kachi on children who were orphaned by the conflict in the Northeast. And tonight, as I stand, I speak at the intersection of three things, and three worlds, would I say. One is fieldwork, policy, and the third is storytelling. And it's at this intersection that this film becomes profoundly important. I'm trying to wrap my thoughts because we're here today. In government, our language is data. We count persons, numbers of displaced persons, how many schools were damaged, how many markets and hospitals were damaged. We make plans, financial plans, we seek partnerships, we mobilize resources and stakeholders. Now, while this is essential work because it creates a structured pathway for rebuilding, numbers alone are very, very thin. While they can tell us what happened, they can't necessarily tell us how it felt. A dashboard, for instance, isn't going to tell you how trust was broken, or how grievance feels in a household, and how resilience feels in a household that is grieving either. And that's where storytelling becomes indispensable. So the film Mothers of Chibok captures that social science that is called thick data. And thick data is lived, textured experience. It's the nuances, the silences, the silent strength that the spreadsheet cannot hold. And that's what we're going to be witnessing today. And we see that the consequences of conflict, as they move from physical destruction, they also have psychological fracture. And I've witnessed this firsthand. Now, beyond, one second. So from the work I've been able to do in the Northeast, I learned that interventions do not operate in a vacuum. They land in real places with real people with real history. And one of the things that we need beyond funding is listening. Listening to the people who this reality is. And listening is not a soft skill. It's actually a delivery strategy. Because when policy is grounded in context, it does more than deliver outcomes. It actually rebuilds, and rebuilds things like trust. We listen carefully, have an appreciation for lived experiences. We're able to then make sure that our interventions are not just technical, but they are also transformative. So I want to speak to the importance of storytelling. As someone who works in policy, for me, storytelling plays a very important role. It's one that may make people in my space a bit uncomfortable, but it's one that I think is really necessary because it holds us accountable. Narratives shape public memory, and public memory shapes governance. When stories are told truthfully, as we would see, they prevent erasure. They ensure that tragedy is not normalized and that recovery is not declared prematurely. For those of us in government, storytelling can be a mirror that we use and ask questions like, did we move fast enough? Did we listen deeply enough? Did we protect adequately? It's not criticism, it's actually a responsibility. And what responsibilities do we owe these mothers As citizens, it's sustained attention, not episodic outrage. As government, security, justice, and competent delivery. As private sector, investment opportunities, and you'll see that as we watch this movie, this documentary. And as a nation, we owe them memory. If we allow thick data to inform policy, and if we anchor recovery in dignity, then trauma becomes transformative. So tonight as we watch and we meet these remarkable women, let's see this not as a closed chapter, but a reminder of our shared responsibilities. Because when storytelling is well aligned with policy and action, it becomes more than an art, it becomes nation building. Thank you for listening.
To make it through, please let them come forward. Please come forward. You come this way. Can the ushers please help? Okay, we're just going to give them a few minutes to make their way down. Mothers of Chibok. Mama Masuko, I hear you in the building. All the music that you heard in today's film was made by Cobham. You could please have Cobham this way as well. Just look at them.
Told me how she was longing for the return of her sister. And then 6 months later, towards the end of production, Yana calls me and says, hey, they found a girl. She was rescued. And I'm like, oh, fantastic. And she says, well, it's Lydia's sister. I'm like, what are the odds that the one person who was rescued at that time is the sister of a character in my film? I quickly called Moteo. I said, Moteo, you have to come to Nigeria. Let's go. We're going to Chibok right away. And he got on the next plane and he came and you know, such a beautiful way to wrap the story. Auntie Mariam. Man Ali. Man Ali. Remember how when she went to sharpen the hoe? I told the guy, that price, man, bring it down, bring it down. All the women, they are top negotiators. They train you from youth. The one person that made this film look so beautiful, I remember I called him, I said, Moteo, I want to make a beautiful film. I need you to go and watch all the beautiful things you've done, and we need to replicate it. I want to make Chibok look beautiful. I want to make these women look beautiful. Moteo and I, we've shot 4 feature films together now. We were shooting pretty much every day for like 2 years. People thought we were nuts. His family thought that he had...
We know that you're nuts.
Okay, all right. And we have Madam Ruth Kwakwe and Hanatu Dauda. Both of them are not in the film, but you know, we'll talk about this later. There's an impact project that we're currently doing, and both of them were part of it, and we felt that it was important to bring them to Lagos to have this experience as well. For me, I've always said that the story of one is the story of all, you know. And Samira Mohammed, I don't understand a word of Hausa, and I don't understand a word of Kibaku. So people always ask me, how did you end up making a film? And you know, Samira was there as our interpreter, as fixer, as producer, as everything. So most times I'll get into the studio and I'll see the subtitles on the screen. I'm like, oh, wait a minute, these women were teasing me here. They were talking about my hair, I'm talking about my beard. I had no clue what was going on. Malam Yakubu is the head of the Chibok Parents Association. And he really was very supportive in making it possible for us to get access and be comfortable in the place. And of course, I always say that one of the best decisions I made was to speak to Auntie Joke and say, please, I want you to be the EP for this film. And she said, I want to see it. It's okay, fine. We watched it together, and she said, I'm in. What do you want? God bless you, man. I don't know what else to say. And there are very many people behind the scenes, my family, who, you know, I think they've probably given up on me because I say I want to go to these crazy places, and they say, well, yeah, go and come back well. My family is here, my kids, my wife, you know. I just want to thank everyone that has supported me. It takes a village to make a film, I'll tell you that. And there are very many people who made this dream possible. I guess we'll take the classical bow, and then we can let them go to this. So thank you very much, everyone. Thank you. So we'll bow. I mean,
Yeah, let's do a countdown. Let's do a countdown.
How do you do that?
Right there.
Ali's very shy but very bold. Trust me. In the right seconds, don't worry. Just give him a few minutes here. He will run the place. Man, Ali, how are you feeling? You're fine?
All right, then let's have the official bow, Mothers of Chibok, in 3, 2. Well, I have to wait for Madam Jogildo. Okay. In 3, 2, 1, and bow.
Bow.
A round of applause for the Mothers of Chibok! But please don't go anywhere yet. We have a quick fireside chat. Don't forget that this documentary is not just about just what we've just watched. It's about the impact initiative that has been put together. We need to get into our fireside chat first. 10, 9, 8. For your efforts. Again, congratulations. And when we spoke earlier this week, I told you I wanted to start with the tagline for this film. And for those who don't remember it, let me reiterate it. This tagline is, if you think you know this story, think again. If you think you know this story, think again. What are you hoping audiences rethink after watching this documentary?
I mean, I think that comes from the reaction that we got when the women stood up and there was like a standing ovation, not for the film but for the women. And I hope I'm not wrong, but what I felt in that applause was admiration for the women, admiration for their strength and their resilience. And for me, the original impetus was not to frame these women through the lens of grief and tragedy, but to frame them through the lens of strength. And you come away from the film not feeling pity, but feeling admiration. You think you knew their story. Well, now you know their story. But for those who haven't seen it, you tell them that you don't know the full story. So go watch it.
Yeah, exactly.
Auntie Joki and Kashi, when we met for dinner earlier this week, the word dignity appeared in our conversation quite often. I know that it was important that this project not be defined by tragedy, and you deliberately avoided sensationalism. Talk to me about why it was important for the both of you as storytellers to not sensationalize this story, to ground it in humanity and have it be.
Out of the ashes of my dying today, I see the breaking of a brand new day, in which the name of the Lord is glorified. I see the breaking of a brand new day. And out of the ashes of what they had been through, you see these women so dignified about how they look after their children, how they make sure that their children go to school, no matter what it takes, no matter how backbreaking it is, those children must go to school. For us, it was very important that people see them from that lens. No matter, tragedy happens, but what is important for anybody who has been through trauma is to be allowed to get through it to the other side and be given the respect, that they deserve for getting through it and getting on with their lives. Because whether you like it or not, you learn to live with it, And that was what was so amazing about this film, the incredible dignity of these women. So for us, that was important. Yeah.
I've talked about how you tell a story like this without documenting the pain, without exploiting it, because that has proven challenging for some other storytellers. So how do you tell a story that has been defined by something so horrifying
and do it in a way that's not exploitative?
I think you start by spending time. You have to be committed to spending time.
And you spent 3 years on this project.
Yes, I spent 3 years. It was a long time. We started filming in May 2021, and we premiered in November 2024. So it took us that long. While we were in post, I was still filming in extra shots and stuff. But when you spend time, you learn. You see other sides. And the approach that we took wasn't just sit down, record an interview, shoot some B-roll, and put it out. We spent time observing. So it was a very observatory type of film. You know, Motera and I would wake up in the morning at 5 a.m., grab the sunrise, go to Ladi's house, whatever she's doing, we document. Go to Yana's house, she's going to the farm, we go hang out with her. And it was just very slow-paced, very chill. I remember when we got the news about Ruth being rescued, and we had to go to Maiduguri to wait for Lydia to meet her sister, and we spent 2 weeks waiting, just waiting for that phone call, and then it came at night. And you know, by that time, actually, I had sent everybody back. It was just myself and Mateo, you know, because I was running out of cash. Every day you're spending money. And then we got that phone call, and it was okay. Boom, let's go. So you spend time, and when you spend time, you see things. You have to be patient. Yeah.
That's one of the many magical moments in this film. Another magical moment in this film for me was watching one of the mothers carry wood and lift a hoe with her foot. Am I right, audience?
Yeah, that was Lottie.
That was Lottie. Was that not an incredible moment?
Yeah, I mean that was the first trip that we made.
Really?
The first trip that Montel and I made.
So that moment for a filmmaker, that's just cinematic gold, isn't it?
It is. It was also a tough moment for us because in that moment, I remember Montel, both of us, we were torn between should we go help or should we just stay and document? And I don't know, if you look, you see that there was a bit of a shake because I think Montel wanted to move. I held him by the shoulder, like, dude, like, she was going to do it anyway if we were not here. So, I mean, but in those moments that was one moment that we filmed it, and I remember telling the editors, whatever you do, this scene must be in the film because of what it means. It means strength and independence. I don't need your help. I'll get it.
That deserves a bigger clap than that. Come on, people. Now we're talking. You mentioned earlier that you wanted this film to be beautiful. Mission accomplished. It's just visually extraordinary. There are visual moments of poetry that just stay with you long after the credits have rolled. Your commitment to making this film beautiful, why? Why was that so important for you? And Auntie Joke, when you look at some of these images, I can only imagine it feels like a coffee table book come to life. And you don't really expect that when you initially hear how deep and how poignant this subject is. You don't expect it to be this beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, you use film to shift perceptions. You use film to change how people see the world. When you say Chibok, the regular guy would think it's a war zone, everyone is in the caves, everyone is hiding, it's a place that is frozen in time. But I've been there, and when I'm in Chibok, it's like a really chill place. Sometimes we go to the mountains, we go just sit there, and when I'm taking like Zoom calls or whatever, and it feels very peaceful. Everyone is friendly. Montana and I, we ride bicycles and get up to all kinds of mischief. And I wanted to show that on film because it was also important for me that I shift perception about this place. You use storytelling to do that. Even if I wanna, anywhere you go to, if you wanna make the place look ugly, as a storyteller, you can. If you wanna make it look beautiful, you can. I went into this with an agenda, and the agenda was to make this place look beautiful, to make the women look beautiful, because they are.
Auntie Joke, you have a career that has spanned 4 decades. You are a force on camera and clearly behind the scenes as well. Talk to me about the power of Nigerian cinema and how it can be used to shape national memory.
That's quite a question. One of the things I think we want to do with this film is that more than being, they're beyond poster women for kidnapping, for terrorism. They're beyond that. Their story now has been archived for the. We will never forget the mothers of Chibok because we have it on film, and the film is so powerful that it has documented their story from their own perspective. They told their story. And what is fascinating for me about the film is that I don't know how many people remember when Ladi is riding the bicycle. And by the way, there are landmines on that terrain. When she's riding the bicycle, it looks like a desert, doesn't it? And then all of a sudden, you see green, and it gets greener and greener. And that's the power of a film like this. What it is saying to us and what Kachi has done with this film is to switch the narrative and say that these women are farmers. Why are they farmers? They are farmers because they want to send their children to school. And a lot of you people who have been invited, were invited specifically for this premiere. We believe that you can support these women to reduce the back-breakingness of the work that they do. And also, Kachi will tell us more. Some people will be able to invest. Let me try and put it in context, please, if you don't mind, brother. A couple of days ago, we went to a UNM office. It was amazing. So when I say we can assist to reduce the back-breakingness of the work, we work with them to do it. We don't impose anything on them. And I remember there was this beautiful solar paneled, it was like a lorry that they could, a truck, a mini truck that would take them to the farm, and it's solar powered, so there won't need to be any cycling and anything like that. And Mama Yana immediately said, no, we don't want that one. We want bicycle. And we're like, hey, bicycle, I mean, this is, And she says, who's going to repair that one when it breaks? Who's going to repair it? Until we train people who can repair it. You see bicycle, I will repair it. I know every single part of a bicycle. That day they got 20 bicycles. Just that one day. And so that's the kind of impact that we're hoping that this film has. Joining hands to make sure that these women, represented by the 4 you saw on film, but they are many, and making sure that we scale their business. Thank you.
So, let's dive deeper into how exactly we can help. Let's get into the nuts and bolts of it, because Njoke said it perfectly. This film makes clear that farming is what funds education, and education is how these women continue to fight back. So let's drill into the nuts and bolts. I understand that you have a program now that has a cohort of 9 women, and you're hoping to scale that to 100 women. And in that cohort, they're taught farming techniques, they're giving seeds, fertilizer, et cetera. Talk to us about that program specifically, and then tell us all in the audience who are now activated, having watched that film, how we can help.
Well, backstory. So for me, it was always about how can live beyond this. So in 2024, towards the end of production, I started thinking about what exactly can we do with the mothers of Chibok. And like you said, farming funds education in Chibok. But the main thing that they plant is groundnuts. And so when the harvest comes, they sell it, or they sell it to middlemen in the village, who pay them whatever they want to pay them, and that's it. And the harvest is always not very great, it's meager. So in 2025, I contacted with my team a team of professors like agriculturalists, agronomists, soil technicians, whatever, and said, look, the harvest from these women is really low, and I want to understand why. Why can't they get more? And they said, okay, let's get the seeds and soil samples, and we ran a test. They gave their recommendations, and we brought these 9 women from Chibok, brought them to Yola, did a training with them, gave them seeds, gave them the training, and then trained some young people in the community who then went back and did a monitoring and evaluation over a 6-month period. And in 2025, November, they had their harvest, and they all sort of together, they recorded about a 100% increase in the harvest. But in some cases, like in the case of, I think it was Ruth and Hanatu, they were recording like 500-600%. So Hanatu in 2024 had 3 bags, 2025 had 26 bags, which is incredible. But then, the Oliver Twist in me wanted more. So I started to think about, okay, so how do we extract more value? So I came back to Lagos and started searching around, spoke to a few friends. And cut a long story short, we connected with Taibat Hamzat, who runs Zenfix, Serena and AJ, who run North and a few other people, even the folks at Gather House. And basically what has happened now is that we've taken the groundnuts from Chibok and we've converted them into a product that you can taste. So if you go out there, there's peanut butter made with groundnuts, purely groundnuts from Chibok. There's groundnut paste, there's peanut chocolates, there's pop nuts, and it's branded. And it's branded Mothers of Chibok. And for me, what's my dream?
Coming to a Whole Foods near you.
And my dream, and maybe it's crazy, maybe it's, I don't know, we'll see. But my dream is that, can we take that name, Mothers of Chibok, that place called Chibok, and make it into a brand that is associated with resilience and hope and courage, as opposed to abduction, kidnapping, and terror. So that's the big dream, and we've done the MVP, if you would call it that, and we hope that everybody gets something as they go out. The women are going to give them something. Everybody must get something from the women. I think there's enough to go around here. And a little token from them, just to say, it is possible to flip the narrative. And so, whether it's partnerships, collaborations, technical support, whatever it is, right, they need fertilizers, they need seeds, they need irrigation in the community.
Yes, and for each woman, seeds, fertilizer, irrigation, everything is 1.5 million for each woman. What we're praying we can do together with your assistance, with the assistance of people you know, is to scale that to 100. We started with 9 women, as Kachi has told you. His pilot project has been with 9 women. We hope that by the end of 2026 we have 100. But that 100 in the next 5 years, we hope that we would have 1,000. So, and to support each woman is 1.5 million. That's the ask on the impact side. My hope, he will talk to you more about enterprise, if he wants to. My hope is that by the time enterprise and all the things that they have done with turning it into place and taking it global, enterprise will fund the farming and we will no longer have to do any impact work. Wouldn't that be wonderful?
And the farming will fund education.
So it goes full circle. The enterprise, but by God's grace, one day will take over. And then we'll go on to another project.
And Auntie Joke, just again, to reiterate, it's 1.5 million
per woman.
Yes.
Okay. And there will be a QR code soon. So you can for all the techie, I'm a what do you call analog person, but they say there's QR code so you scan. So you scan the QR code, it will show you where, what which account it is to pay in whatever it is that you'd like to donate, and also there's space for you to tell how you want to engage, and there's room for more conversations to let us know how you would like to engage. Like I said, yesterday we got 20 bicycles, and we got somebody who said they would pay for an audit for their homes to see what they need in their homes, and audit to see what they need in their farms. They're going to give them water to irrigate the farms that will be solar powered. So there's just so much that is possible. And with your help, we can do it. One of the things that occurred to me when I was sitting there is that, the power of film is that we can go anywhere by watching a film, all right? So a lot of us here, we've watched films and we've been to America, we've been all over the place. But how many of us have been to different parts of Nigeria in film? Some of us will never go to Chibok, but we've been to Chibok on film. And we will transform that area just by watching a film. Thank you.
Before we open it up for questions from the audience and a word from Yana about the success of this program, what do you hope audiences leave with in their hearts this evening? After having watched this phenomenal project, this stellar film, what do you hope the audience leaves with this evening?
I think I played my part as a filmmaker, and usually you make a film and you put it out into the universe and see what happens. But I hope that when we leave today, we leave with a better understanding of the mothers of Chibok, with a better understanding of the story. We leave not seeing them as stats, like what Dr. Marsha said earlier, but as humans with a story. And when we look at them through that lens, I think that we will be moved from empathy to action.
Wonderful. Can Yana come join us down here and have her share some words about how transformative this program has been and what it's been like to work with you all on this journey?
Please, let's put an answer to that for Mama Yana.
Actually, the beneficiaries of the pilot project, we have Ruth Kwakwi and we have Hanatu Dauda. The pilot project that increased their yield over 100%. They're here with us and they would like to share.
For his efforts towards supporting us in our family. Before we found out fertilizer, without chemical, without tractor, but for this season, we have enough fertilizer, chemical, and they even found it with tractors, and even support us with money to bring it home back, bring the project home. So we appreciate the family, the issues here.
In this moment right now, when you look to the audience, what do you want them to know about your experience and about the mothers and the women of Chibok?
Already, I know as you people have already watched what we see. This is how we are. So what we need is support. To support us in when you commit to make our life a change and then sending our children to school. That's what it is.
Right, well, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, we also have two more women here that would like to share their experience. If you could just come with us.
Ni an tamake mu an yi mana kwaisuwa akan noma wanda muka gani noma yana da muhimmanci sosai wanda muka gane akan cewa rashi ne yana ja da mu baya. Na yi noma a shekarar da ta wuce na shuka gyada kwano 17 amma na samu buhu 3. Amma bana da aka koyar da ni aka yi min taimako aka bani iri aka yi min kuda, aka zo aka bani magani tare da taki, na yi noma na gyara gona, Allah ya tamake ni, bana na samu buhu 29. Ina ce na gode da yawa bana na kan amfani cewa rashi ne yana cece mu a cikin noma. Saboda haka mun gode da yawa da taimakon da aka yi mana, mun samu amfani wanda za mu iya mu taimake 'ya'yanmu mu yi musu rakiya zuwa makaranta. Mun gode sosai.
Yes. From Mbalala community, not far away from Chibok, under Chibok local government. She's thankful and grateful, sir. I'm giving that to you. She's thankful and really grateful, sir. In 2024, her harvest was extremely low. She planted 10 mudus, right? 14 mudus, 17 mudus, and she got just 3 bags of granules. Just 3 bags of granules. Last year, with all the help granted to her, she got 29 bags of granules. Highest in her life. So she's grateful, and with that, she now understands that it's lack of funds that is holding them from achieving what they need to achieve. So she's extremely grateful. She's happy with what she got. It has really helped her in looking forward and paying her children's school fees, right? And doing her other things with it. She's very grateful about that.
Before we open it up to the audience for questions, Auntie Joke and Kashi, do you have any final thoughts? Okay. It's time for questions from the audience. Does anyone have a question? Okay, I see a gentleman with a hat there. Can you get this microphone to him? Thank you.
I mean, the rain scene, what happened was that the women had been waiting for rain for a while. I remember I had asked Yana, I said, when is it going to rain? And she said, oh, it's going to rain next week. So we waited for that week, it didn't rain. And then, I was running out of money. So I had to just tell the guys we have to leave. But I left my camera assistant. I said, with a camcorder, I said, just stay here for 2 more days. And if it doesn't happen, then come back to Lagos. I remember we got to Lagos and then he called me that the next morning and said, I said, Oga, it's raining. I'm like, dude, are you shooting? What else? So that was, but the rain scene was a combination of like three rainfalls that happened and we combined them together. The other one, the really big one, was we had gone out with Lydia to the farm. It hadn't rained for a while and went with her to the farm to go and the scene where she was watering. She went to the stream to fetch water and then went back to water the plants. And I remember we got back home to her house. In fact, on our way, we started hearing thunder. And then by the time we got to the house, the rain started. Lydia was pissed. You could see on her face, like, after all this wahala, and now rain come fall. So, I always say it's the beauty of making docs because you don't know what life is going to give to you. But you embrace it and make the best out of it.
Hello. Hi,
I think we have time for one more question.
Hello.
Wait, they said what?
I have the
Okay,
mic
the
here.
lady in the orange here. Yes. Do you
Donna?
have a microphone?
I have the mic here.
Okay. While we get, okay, so you take.
Hi.
Get this microphone.
So, Kashi, I just want to say amazing film, and really everyone is.
I think we'll stay with Mothers of Chibok for now and make the best we can out of it. I'm very focused on supporting and collaborating with the women on this sort of enterprise side of things. Maybe that's my new foray into social enterprise. We'll see. But I think that it's an exciting new opportunity that I would really love to explore with the women and just to see how we can transform that. In terms of like the product, I think everybody's gonna get like something on their way out. But for the month of March, we're collaborating with Gather House. They're based in Ikoyi, and they generally stock like women-owned brands. So for the month of March, the Women's Month, you can go there and grab yourself a jar of peanut butter, and, buy one for a woman that you know, spread some peanut butter love in March for the women.
And then we have our final question, the woman in the orange.
A member of Women in Film, one of our junior members, she's going to blast it for us on TikTok. I want to thank Ruth Cadley. I'm not